The history of the Church is not only written in ink, it is written in blood. Since the early days following the resurrection of Christ, a mysterious force has driven thousands of men, women, and even children to march toward death with a smile on their lips. They did not die for an idea, but because they had seen a truth that the flames could not burn. For the Roman Empire, the goal was not just to execute, but to break faith through calculated cruelty. It all begins under the Roman Empire. At that time, Rome required every citizen to burn incense before the statue of Caesar, considering him a god. The Christians refused, claiming there is only one king, Jesus Christ. This refusal was perceived as political treason. To break this resistance, Rome turned the bodies of believers into a battlefield, using an increasingly inventive arsenal of tortures. The first great persecutor, Nero, established the horror of human torches. In the year 64, he had Christians coated in pitch and resin, tied to posts, and lit alive to light his gardens at night. But torture went beyond simple fire. The gridiron was used, an iron bed heated by glowing coals, where the victim cooked slowly. St. Lawrence was tortured there, maintaining a peace so unsettling that he joked with his executioners, for the most obstinate, red-hot metal helmets were placed on the head, instantly burning the skull and brain, or jagged iron combs that plowed through the ribs until the bones and organs were exposed. The Colosseum became the theater of damnatio ad bestias. Christians were thrown to hungry lions or leopards. But there, an incredible phenomenon often occurred. The beasts refused to eat the Christians. As the crowd roared for death, fierce lions were seen approaching softly and lying down at the martyrs' feet, licking their wounds like domestic animals. Other beasts remained petrified at the back of the arena, refusing to attack despite the trainers' blows. This silence of the beasts terrified the Roman authorities. Humiliated by this miracle, the executioners often had to send soldiers to finish the Christians with the sword, for the animals recognized in them a divine presence they could not attack. In the center of the arena, the contrast was striking. Thousands of spectators screamed, while the Christians, kneeling, sang hymns. This supernatural calm troubled the executioners. The martyrs did not scream in terror. They seemed to see an invisible kingdom. Among these heroes, female figures showed that faith does not depend on physical strength. Blandina of Lyon. This young slave was tortured from morning to night. Her executioners, exhausted, did not understand how she was still breathing. Delivered to a wild bull in a net, she remained in ecstasy, talking with Christ until her last breath. Perpetua and Felicity, a young noblewoman and her servant who marched toward the beasts holding hands, as dignified as if they were going to a wedding. Perpetua refused to yield, even before her father's tears, affirming that she could bear no other name than that of Christian. The emperors thought that by multiplying the tortures, they would destroy Christianity. It was a fatal mistake. As Tertullian wrote, "The blood of the martyrs is a seed." Every public execution created new vocations. Spectators asked themselves, what is this force that allows them to smile on the gridiron? The purity of their sacrifice eventually caused Roman paganism to collapse. In the year 313, Rome had to bow and grant freedom of worship. The story of the martyrs reminds us that faith is not a comfort, but a commitment that has been tested by iron and fire. These men and women lost everything on earth to gain everything in eternity. Looking at their sacrifice, one question remains. If our faith passed through iron and fire today, would it remain as unshakable as theirs?